got as far as map picks?
Toxicity, Sinister, Cure.
Alright, fine.
Rapha dropped out Blood Run, JT dropped out Lost World. Both very obvious drops considering their opponents, I think.
Alright, so this should hopefully be a bit of a fun match. Pings are pretty even.
Yep. This is Rapha. You Claude, you. This is John.
Prepare to fight.
Alright, and here we go. This is semi-final number 2. Rapha against JT.
3, 2.
We're gonna go with Rapha off the start, or John?
We are going to be on Rapha at the moment. Guys, I know a lot of you multi-twitching might be like, oh, maybe we should see the other guy because Rapha's streaming. It's Rapha. I can't play the rules that I normally would with that one, so we're just gonna leave it on follow killer and switch accordingly.
That first rail is really, really great.
My favorite map, for sure. Well, actually I think Delirium is my favorite map, but Toxicity a very, very close second, and Rapha plays a damn good Toxicity, man.
Yeah, he really does.
He'll be caught out a bit.
Oh, yeah, Rapha just playing that game, he goes for as much damage as he can, and his rockets exiting that situation are fantastic, and not so much that John Thompson can do.
I kind of like the way he killed him too, you know, if you got the frag at the teleporter, that's fine, but not killing him right away and actually just destroying him at red means that there's no way JT can spawn anywhere useful on the map, and this is the best way to play Toxicity. You force spawns, and you force your opponent to try to take items you normally wouldn't go for.
Yeah, and this is definitely something that Rapha, we've seen him do many times before, and just... John Thompson takes so long to pick up that red, you know, he's just like scared to touch it because Rapha is all over his face at the moment.
This is Rapha.
Like just off of every spawn there's damage. I mean, yeah, there's not really. I don't know.
It's not a whole lot. Just, you know, it's just like kind of QuakeCon champion. You know, it's just like no big deal.
And that's exactly
no big deal.
It. I mean, this is just Rapha dominating a map that. I don't know, I'm trying to think. I remember there was a really fun match against Cypher here.
Choose your words carefully. Last QuakeCon?
Not QuakeCon that's just been, the one before. There's a really fun Cypher v Rapha game from there, which I think Cypher wins in the end. But
I was gonna say, Toxicity wasn't on that roster.
No, thankfully. We got Elder instead.
Yay! No opinion. So 9-0, 2.5 minutes in, Rapha is...
So if you're a player who likes Toxicity, if you're John Thompson right now, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking I'm gonna try to hit air rockets against Rapha and make up for this. Like, no, but okay.
You're gonna
real talk
earn
though.
Swag points on stream.
Yeah. Eventually, I would get to that point. Maybe not at the 3-minute mark. But eventually, I get to that point. I also obviously, would never know without being in the same situation. Like, I've played Rapha on Toxicity, and Rapha hates playing me on Toxicity because Rapha thinks that I play like an idiot, and I do. But that's what also leads into my next point of, like, I don't actually think I would have dropped that first frag the same way that he did. I don't know. I would have angled myself differently, and I'd be being a lot more sneaky right now, a lot less direct. Thing is though, I also would be going up against 40 LG, like 40 plus LG all game long, and that's what got Rapha most of his kills. I mean, I don't want to bring up the damage in front of the folks here at home, but if you can look for his Phylum, like that LG damage has to be insane.
But yeah, he's done 1,000 damage with the LG, which is like half of his overall damage. And when you think about how many rails he's hit, like, you know, that's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I just to clarify, I made it sound like I'm the best thing ever on Toxicity. I'm not. Like, I just play this map too much and I like it, but I don't really know how I would approach it exactly. The way he died is the same. it's like on any map. There's just a certain time you do not want to die at the beginning of the match. Like it's like dying at the second red on Furious Heights. Like you just don't want to die at the 55-ish second mark on Furious Heights at the red. Like it's terrible for you. You lose everything, and same thing happens. You know. You can't let a player like Rapha or a player like Zorak on a map where toxicity is so focused around cycling items and like just kind of forcing your opponent to be in one area of the map while you're getting the other area. You can't let them do that at the 2-minute mark. I'd be surprised if we see a single frag before like the 8-minute mark even, honestly. Be really surprised. We'll see. I'll stop talking about my thoughts about toxicity. This is Aerowalk. I'd ask you your thoughts, but don't you like hate Aerowalk or hate toxicity if I recall?
I am not a toxicity fan. I play it. I'm ashamed to admit it's probably one of my stronger maps because I can just like dumb aim it against certain people. Well, I guess position it, but
Right. So I guess we're both in agreement that we should just watch the wonderfulness that is Rapha.
Yeah, pretty much. No, and like every time I watch a good player on this map, it's just kind of like I should go for that rail. I should, you know. There's a lot to take away from watching someone like Rapha play this.
Yep. We'll just kind of kick back here. Yeah, Rapha doesn't even need the red. Serves him no advantage towards his stat. Only have 200 armor. He will now bait JT into getting the red. Yep, he's gonna bait him into getting the red.
Those were 2 3 rails in a row. I think someone... Is Rapha lagging or is that me? I think that's probably me.
Probably you.
Yeah, but it's unfortunate they dealt absolutely 0 damage on that red, because otherwise, like, it would have been worth his while to let JT take it.
Yeah, just a little bit slow with the rail switch there. Red is up in 1 second. Will he steal it away before? Nope. A very quick spawn read and another conversion. I mean, many people, they ask me about this map. They're like, why do you like toxicity? Don't you see what a terrible map it can be? I like this kind of Quake sometimes. Like, okay, granted, 0 to 20, and the guy doesn't even have like a cycle that he can get onto. Yeah, it's pretty brutal. But I mean, I like that conversion Quake. You know, that just absolute dominance. Like, it's fun. I mean, people are rolling their eyes and writing me death threats right now, but it's fun. I like it.
Yeah.
What can I say?
No, it can be fun sometimes when you're just like dicking around and aiming and stuff.
I am an execution-based player
competitions.
too, so. Yeah. It had to happen.
Yeah, I think at this point it's been in enough competitions. You know, if there were new maps, we wouldn't play it anymore. But there aren't new maps, so you know we've got to have some variety in there somewhere.
Rapha's been working just... It's gotten to the point where he's not necessarily taking the items, but he's just letting JT work his way onto these armors without the proper weapons, and I think finally maybe JT, yeah, he will have full weapons and about 70 armor. He's actually got himself into a position to defend this this next red here.
Yeah, Rapha's just looking for any pre-damage that might give him a window.
I think Rapha's actually just sitting at the mega health. He's finally maybe just kind of... Yeah.
You can see Rapha isn't concerned with picking this up at all, he just wants damage.
He wants to know where his opponent is. It's a huge thing on toxicity, actually, that I think a lot of people make the mistake of, is they don't listen. They don't figure out where their opponent is before moving. There's a lot of traps on this map. There's a lot of dead space you just not want to be.
Yeah, so many angles, so many easy ways to open yourself up, and
Rapha exploiting it. Excellent rocket there.
Well, yeah, and like the really important thing, like, you know, Mega's up, and he's just going to stand still and wait and listen and see if his opponent does anything stupid that lets him get easy damage off.
1 minute warning.
I mean, because honestly, what does taking the Mega for Rapha do at that point? Gives him an extra 100 health, you know, up to max of 200, of course. Yeah, I get that, but just gonna tick down, and then JT potentially is just, you know, gonna eat that away. Whereas just sitting there out in the open like that, there's no way JT coming through that teleporter would ever get that mega health before Rapha and turn the game around at that point. Rapha knows he's had his number for several rotations now. Several rotations.
I think he's had it since 0000.
The first frag. That feeling when you
There
frag
we
the
go.
QuakeCon champion.
There's still time.
9 minutes and 40 seconds into the game. Realize you still have 23 frags to go. Sorry for the massive scoreboard checking there, guys. Bad habits. I'll break them again. It's been ages since I casted. He will flex his LG muscles there and show us that he's more than capable of getting frags. But again, I feel like dropping the first frag when he did cost him the entire
Set
game.
himself up for failure.
Yeah, it cost him the whole game.
I don't know if you can say it cost him the entire game against Rapha here, you know?
Can't you though? Because it is Rapha? Like, can't you say that? Because...
Well, that's true.
I think that I think it cost him the first... It cost him the first half of the game, without a doubt. If not the first half, maybe even the first 3 quarters. Like, I think that's a fair statement. Maybe not the whole thing. But we will go on to Sinister.
Hopefully a bit more even.
Yep. I don't really see it happening, to be honest. It's just me.
No, but hopefully there'll be something John Thompson can do, you know, to show off some of his Quake skills rather than just kind of hopping around on toxicity.
Right.
Impressive.
So yeah, is Apparition known as a Sinister player?
Well, I'm trying to think of everything that I have, or all the games I've played against him. I know I've played Sinister, but it has been a very long time. I don't see it. I don't see it happening, to be honest. I see Cure happening even less. Actually, I'm sorry. That's not true. I think he has a better chance on Cure, but I feel like unless he's able to keep this to an extremely low-scoring game, which is not Apparition's style, mind you. Unless he's able to keep it to a very low-scoring game, and Rapha just doesn't hit like a goddamn truck. Like, I don't know. His chances are better on this than
He needs to be
Toxicity.
exceptional, and Rapha needs to exceptionally fuck up. Let's go with John Thompson. He's the man that has to make the magic happen.
Will do.
And yeah, nice even spawns. John Thompson is going to have that railgun advantage.
I just want to say real quick before we get too deep into this, that was absolutely the worst prediction and casting analysis ever. If I was on a panel, I would be fired tomorrow. I just want to point that out. But the shitty predictions aside, Rapha's gonna actually win himself red by having an LG.
Yeah, and it's just playing that weapon advantage, you know? And it's such a simple thing to do, but it just makes it work so well. And now, I mean, he may not give up the first strike, he might. And yeah, here comes Rapha, there we go. 48 seconds in, giving up the first frag.
I'm still on JT, just...
Yeah, no, we'll stick with him for now.
Just because...
Rapha kind of just standing there, ready for a rail.
Scratching his nose, you know.
Yeah. John Thompson shouldn't try and go for this other yellow, because that would be a death sentence.
It'd be very like him to. I will say that. It'd be very like him to. And he will stick around. At this point, I don't even really so much mind that third rail. Only because, I mean, you're so...
Once he'd stuck around for the second, it was like he'd already committed.
Yep.
And you can't half-ass your commitment. You know, if you're going to commit, you have to see it through.
And I foresee Rapha getting a second frag here. AT will spawn upper yellow, get himself a railgun. Rapha is there to convert. And that is magical number 3. Those of you not multi-twitching, this is Rapha again. I know he's been playing a lot and streaming a lot.
Did John
and...
actually not
Go
get
ahead.
the sound cue for that mega?
Not sure.
Because I didn't hear it, but I'm wondering if I like.
Were you on his
might
point
have
of
just
view?
been too far. I was on his point of view, yeah, and I didn't pick it up.
Do you have that S_PVS on? Ooh, nice.
I
rocket,
certainly
Rapha.
do.
Then yeah, he didn't get the sound cue probably. That's unfortunate for him because he is going to he is going to show up for it now.
Yeah, he would have liked it to have just magically been up then and everything to go
Nice.
right and to cure world hunger, but it's not gonna quite be that picturesque.
Nice read
Rapha is
there.
definitely expecting him to go to red.
Rapha's on
and
the
yeah,
whole
he's-
damn map. He's not even gonna get this red because he knows. He's like, dude, I don't even need this. It's gonna sync up my mega health. I'm doing the
Yeah.
exact same thing I did to you on Toxicity, but at a slower pace. Like, I'm just not letting you get the map. Period. That's my game.
John Thompson, he I don't know if he realizes that Rapha has time to get to this yellow, and thankfully, oh, that's a nice rocket. Rapha might still get the frag, and yeah, he will. No mega spawn. John could just sit up at this red, catches Rapha and teleport limbo, and actually, you know, I mean,
I
he
think
hits
the
some nice
issue is
rockets, but it
JT's
doesn't
so.
achieve anything.
I think he's so used to playing against people who make more mistakes that his more aggressive style pays off more. I know I'm guilty of that. Like,
Yeah,
when
well,
you're
no,
used to people
definitely,
making
like-
more mistakes, being aggressive works more often. So,
Yeah, and you know, if you hit that kind of rocket damage against anyone else, maybe they would like fuck up and you would get something from it, but
Yeah.
not Rapha.
you just stand still, man. I mean, stone cold. Unless JT spawns red here, he's gonna lose the next major as well.
Mm-hmm.
He will lose both again. Is continuously full map control again
And
for
Rapha
Rapha.
can-
Oh, he doesn't. I knew he was there, and I'm like, maybe Rapha knows something I don't. But I guess he's just gonna let him get a
Well,
little
and
bit
what
of.
about this though?
Yeah.
I mean, he lets him get yellow and then come out to mid to get LG.
I was just gonna that
And
false sense of security.
Yeah, it's like a
totally.
really next level trap.
I feel you, man. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah, like that's definitely what happened there.
You do have to
Yeah,
switch it up
John-
at some point, right? I guess this technically you could say this is the difference between a player who literally rotates items and a player who uses the items to their advantage while rotating them.
Again, John, he should know roughly when red is from like he got one footstep there, but I would have liked to see him, you know, actually looking at it a bit more. But I think he's just so far off the map at this point. He's a bit, and like you'd be second guessing every action at this point too.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Adding in a little trap like that, you were saying before, where I was kind of wondering why didn't he just go for the lower yellow and kill him there. Adding that little what if to your gameplay, I mean, it makes your opponent freak out.
Well,
sometimes.
Yeah,
like,
and Rapha, when he played Zorak War at QuakeCon too, that was like, I'm sure people who watch the game remember Rapha did that like trap at lower yellow near the start of the game and got a really
he
like
is.
early unexpected frag, and it just you could tell that through Zorak it was this really kind of unexpected thing.
yeah, absolutely.
an
Sorry,
important skill to be
he
able
was
to have.
railable there, and JT was right above him just for a second, but he goes from 74 health to 170, 120. So he's fine. Both players now actually with pretty reasonable stack. JT has position onto red currently, unless Rapha can sneak his way in here and kind of find JT before the red's coming. He has to be in this room. And
Yeah, John Thompson's making a lot of noise too. Like Rapha's there and he just makes one jump.
I don't know if you noticed, it looked like Rapha was actually about to back up and just let JT come up the pad there for a second. But he took too long.
Ooh, a little bit of warp, maybe.
I think we're good actually, man. I think it just might be the fact that you
Maybe,
have
yeah.
you're like 200
I'm a long
ping
way
away, so I don't know. It might be work. Who knows? Just going to leave the red up for a second. Doesn't want to sync it up, and what's the worst that happens? My opponent gets 100 armor, and then I just smack another 37 LG and 50 rail into his face. Yeah, I can do that again.
Yeah, I don't. Oh,
definitely solidifying his position here. Again, I said it was Czar, who is waiting in the winner bracket finals as seed number 2. Rapha was seed number 1, and he's looking to make this a quick 2-0 here at the next 3 minutes, and be going up against be going up against the original On Omson, if you will. The original confusing name speech.
Yeah. Rapha again, keeping those 2 major items offset from each other. It's gonna push in, just pushing in with the shotgun. You know, the ultimate insult.
I think we said this earlier. It was way early in the cup about how I even been in the first match. About how when you're playing against a player who you know you're just kind of better than, you start to slack off and maybe just kind of have fun because you know like you're playing Quake and it's just a fun game and it's easy to kind of get lazy. You pointed out that Rapha's not letting that item, the items sync up, and in general, like he's not skipping a beat. You know, he is one of those guys that you hear it. I mean, maybe you haven't heard it, and this will be the first time, but people will say, players like Rapha, players like Evil, they're stone cold, and then they don't change the way they play because of who they're playing against. I feel like Evil's gotten a bit complacent lately. But Rapha has always been someone who will never play you like you're a 1200 elo dueler, even if you are. He will play you like, you know, you're a 2000 elo dueler, because if he doesn't do that, he doesn't grow the way that he gets good at Quake. Like, he's all about brain Quake, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely. I watched him play on stream some free-for-all the other day, and like, even playing free-for-all, he's just like, he takes it so seriously, you know? He wants to do the best he can every second.
Not to interrupt, but apparently Brain Quake in 2016 now also means you hit 40% LG. Just
yeah,
standard.
Well, there's also that element too. Like, Rapha's aim just looks so sick all the time.
I think there's a common misconception of Rapha being called a very defensive player, a very passive player. He's actually not. He's actually a pretty aggressive player, but he knows when to do things. You know?
Yeah, he can be patient.
Yep.
He can wait for the perfect moment to attack and then completely just fuck you over.
I really even hate to call it being passive or defensive. He's just patient.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, he can be defensive, and there are some pretty good examples of him, like being defensive when he needs to be.
In point of health, he needs to be defensive right now. Anything will kill this man.
No,
Icon Champion's life on by a thread. Still railable. Okay, no, we're good. We're good. I'm back, Phylum. I'm down. I'm back on Earth, man. How you doing? Okay. Well, pretty quick 2-0. I shouldn't say quick.
Yeah,
a 2-0. But
it's pretty painless.
Was it unexpected though? I mean, can anyone honestly say they expected any differently?
No, that's how it should go.
We'll have to see who wins the next game and who goes to lowers, because whoever goes to lower bracket will have a much higher hill to climb, so to speak, a much larger task. It is going to be like most double eliminations. Did you guys want another? It's a tournament. Okay, never mind. But yeah, it's a double elimination bracket, guys. So a lot of people were saying to me when I made the tournament, why do we keep having to see double best of threes? This is lame. We're tired of double best of threes in 125. Why does the NA Duel Cup have to do it as well? Because it's a double elimination bracket. Like, there's actually no way to make it fair without it being this way. And if you don't get what I mean, like, let me explain real quick, because I do want to explain this as we head into the winner bracket finals. Basically, double elimination, everyone's granted a second chance after losing once, right? They're sent to lower bracket, and if they lose another again, they're eliminated. So one chance each, every single player. So if a player wins every single match, why would they ever want to have to forfeit their second chance by like having a one map advantage or some stupid crap in a best of 5 or best of 7? It makes no sense. Like, it makes 0 sense. So that's why we're not doing that ever again. It was a dumb idea the couple times we did it. In hindsight, I apologize to anyone who may have gotten screwed out of any prize money because of that. But like, honestly, can you think of anything yourself, Phylum, that would be equal to giving up a second chance at another series, another best of?
Not really. It's a really hard one because map advantage is so lame, right? If you go into a best of 3 or a best of 5, one map up, that just sucks for everyone.
Even the viewers, I think. Ending on a 2-2
Yeah.
or a 3-3, like,
and it feels really it feels really bad for the viewers too. I mean, I'm sure everyone remembers QuakeCon 2013 when Rapha beat Evil with one map up, and like everyone just hated it. But you do need some advantage. You do need some advantage coming in from the upper bracket. Otherwise, you get players. Because I mean, like I played in a competition yesterday, and I figured out, you know, like it was pretty obvious who would beat who. So I figured out if I won my first game or lost my first game, I could play different people at a certain point in the bracket. You know, so like you want to avoid a situation where people can strategically lose.
yeah.
And yeah, having that advantage in the last game is basically the way. Make it worth winning the upper bracket.
Yep, absolutely. I just have to stress that and say all of that to you guys because I like the long series too. I like the nice long best of 5s and 7s where we get to see all the maps, but when you really think about it, it doesn't make sense to do it any other way in a double elimination bracket. Now, that being said, again, I said this briefly when you were actually gone, Phylum, but there are going to be Duel Cups every 2 weeks. The next one will be in 3 weeks just because Super Bowl's coming up, Valentine's Day is coming up, and then this holidays just sync up a lot better if we do everything 3 weeks from now instead of every 2. Anyways, they're going to happen every other week instead of every month like they were before. And then every 3 months, in other words, every 6 North American Duel Cups, there will be a playoffs. So all these players who are placing top 8 right now, they're all going to be getting points. They're all going to be, these points will all go towards earning a slot into the playoffs at the end of the 3 months. And that playoffs will not be a double elimination bracket. That playoffs will be longer series, best of 5s, best of 7s even. So it will happen, just not in the regular format. What?
But Flare, isn't that just like 125 FPS?
Well, Phylum, I'm glad you asked that. It is just like 125 FPS. What is 125 FPS just like?
Is 125 FPS just like Face It?
Why, you know what? It is just like Face It, Phylum. What is Face It just like? You don't know the answer to that.
Just like tournaments in general?
Oh, yeah!
It's just like a sensible way to run a tournament?
Round of applause for logical deduction. In before baby rage about copying formatting.
I think I nipped that one on the bud pretty solidly.
It was well done. No, you took me by surprise. I am a bit ashamed at how I handled that initially. I gotta give you credit. Wait. Not playing Texas and he won't... I'm down to play Czar here. Not playing Texas and he won't want Illinois. Is Czar even here?
He left ages ago. He left like 5 minutes ago.
Alright, looks like we may have to figure pings out here.
Yeah, this... It always looks a bit complicated in North America. I guess we kind of have it easy in Australia because you just play on Sydney.
Well, the thing is Czar pings very, very good to Texas. Like, very good to Texas. We're talking like it's going to be a 50 ping versus a 12. And if we go to Illinois, Rapha is going to have an advantage very similar to that. I should have called my map the 250 FPS, to be honest. Oh, that joke never gets old. Lupin. Well done, chat. Well done. Getting sidetracked here about the similarities between 125 and the NA Duel Cup. For the record, I talked to Nico about a lot of stuff, okay? And I even asked him, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna do something very similar to your format. Is that okay, even though I know it's like not really your format? And he's like, yeah, it's not my format at all. It's just kind of standard. Why would I care? And I'm like, just making sure. Have them play on a South African server, inverted mouse. Actually, Phylum, you probably have admin to an Australian server somewhere, right?
No.
Let's go there.
I actually don't have any power in Australia at all. Because the people that run servers here are just nobodies that pay money. And we've had all kinds of drama. I don't know, now that the community are running their own servers, do you have drama about like who admins and like admins abusing their powers and stuff?